Hey guys, welcome to the RoundTable. Here at the RoundTable, we continue the conversations that we have had from Sunday morning and how you can have practical ways to help every person take their next steps towards Jesus together.
Hey everybody, welcome to the RoundTable, episode number 6. We're excited that you guys joined us here today. We got a special guest, which we'll get to here in a little bit. We always have our co-host, Jenny, who has lost her stage name, Walker.
Yes, thank goodness.
So she's worked her way in. Doesn't need a stage name anymore. You're somewhat popular now.
I am?
No, I know. I think everybody listens because of you.
Oh, no, that's probably not true.
No, I think...
Oh, stop, guys.
See, it's okay.
So
It's okay
nice.
to be a star. And Travis Harrison's with us here today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we were warned on the way in. Make sure you drink a lot of coffee to keep up. So
for some reason.
yeah, you're not going to have any. There will be no problems with the silent room today.
No, none.
No. Right. So, Jenny, tell us what's going on in life. What are you doing? We always start off our
Yeah.
segments like catch us up. What's happening in your life? Anything special? Anything new?
Yeah, definitely. So I found out last night at 7-Eleven, ironic, but whatever, PM, that there are no pumpkin spice Kit Kats in the entire town of Huntington. So I walked into Walmart and I was expecting to get my usual 3-4 bags of pumpkins.
Oh my Lord.
3 or 4 bags?
I may or may not have a problem with them.
Candy?
No, well, not necessarily candy. I used to, but now it's the pumpkin spice Kit Kats. My mom
Everybody
was like,
needs
"Is that
to be
all
on
you
the watch."
eat?"
Are you
Sort of.
serious?
Yes, because I have this method. I bite it in half, and then I bite the little crispy wafer parts off. It's just so good.
No,
So
that
like
doesn't
in
actually
layers?
make any
Yes.
sense.
You
Yes,
take it in
and
layers.
a Kit Kat has those layers with the waffle things.
Okay.
Wafer things.
Okay.
Anyways, I went to Walmart, I went to Owens, and then I went to Walgreens and CVS and Family Dollar.
Okay, so podcast listeners, we're always telling you send something to the roundtables to help us
Oh
out.
my
or give
God.
us
Pumpkin
so
spice.
anybody that has
Yes.
found pumpkin spice for
Kit
Kit Kats,
Yes.
send it to Jenny so that she can go on a run.
Oh, I already purchased 4 of them, and they're in Wabash waiting for me.
Oh my gosh. And if anybody knows a good dentist, she might
Yeah.
need one of those too after a while.
I got mine on deck. She's up in Michigan.
And just randomly, how did you know it was 7-Eleven? Like why?
Well,
so-
I do remember leaving the house at 7:08, so then it doesn't take me that long to get there.
Okay,
But
so
really,
it was
more
just one of those
dramatic.
things where you're like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
have to have a Kit Kat.
Well, no, they're just that good.
No,
I
I
was
know, but
fiending for one. Literally, that's how it felt like.
You were what?
Fiending.
Feeney.
Like, I got in my car after... I got in my car...
Travis is like, I know the fiending.
I know
he
what
gets
fiending
it.
is.
But no, I got
Oh,
in my
yeah.
car, and at the minute that I found out that there were no Kit Kats at Walmart, I literally was freaking out.
That is almost hilarious.
Yeah, I almost went on Amazon, paid $10 for one package.
Oh my God. You still have to wait till tomorrow. though.
Yes,
And so
I
you
know.
found them, and you're picking them up
Yes.
today. Where did you find them?
Walmart in Wabash. My dad's picking them up.
Wow.
Yep.
It's about
Okay.
like me and my mints. I freak out if I don't have my mints.
Yeah.
What?
Mints. I've always
You got some on you?
Do you really?
I've always got my mints.
Wait, so
This is with you all the time.
All the time.
Oh, those are so strong.
I know, but they're sugar free and they don't cost me $1,000
That's
at
what
the
I'm
dentist.
That is true.
Because so you'd have to go to the dentist if you were doing
Well,
something
my
else?
old ones were the Altoids with sugar.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Was
they
this
cost
like
me
a
about
replacement for something? Like, did you used to smoke cigarettes and then you
Yes,
decided
did
to...
you?
Yes, for like
Oh.
20 years or something.
That's
I
what I'm
smoked.
saying. So it was like, now this is the new
Yeah,
thing.
so now this is my new thing.
That makes sense.
And I've made it to sugar free now so that
I'm
I
so
don't have to
proud
buy
of you.
dentist bills.
Wow.
But I will.
That's
I
hard.
fiend for these.
Yes.
If I don't have them, I freak out.
Yeah,
because-
if you don't have one on deck, you
So do you
panic.
just keep a bunch of them at home?
Oh, I buy 3
He goes
cases
to Sam's
of
Club.
Cases.
every month.
Cases.
Yeah, boxes with 8 8 of these in each. So I get 24
Yeah.
every month.
Okay, so question. So does this food shortage freak you out?
That's what I was
really.
just sitting here thinking.
Pack a day.
I'm telling you.
Thanks for Jenny's
I'm
like,
telling
great
you.
job. Go from one
Yeah.
addiction to another. It's
I've always-
perfect.
I've always got good breath.
Yeah, see? Positive.
But
good
no,
breath,
the food
always.
shortage don't freak me out.
It
'cause
freaks me
I can
out.
kill food if I have to.
Oh, no. Are
Well,
you
have
saying...
your mints, though.
Oh, well, no,
That's-
I...
Yeah.
you gotta tough some stuff out.
Talking to the guy that buys 8 packs.
Yes, exactly.
I'll be
telling you,
okay.
I'm
getting the shivers right now thinking about it.
I need my Mentos.
Oh my god.
Hey, I
And was it
understand.
always the certain kind? So Altoids?
Yeah, I've tried
or-
wintergreen. And
No, I mean
Wintergreen.
Altoid. Is that a brand or something?
yes, this is the brand, and they're sugar free, and they don't have xylene or something like that. That I
that's the
can't because my
best.
dog eats them too.
Oh, yeah.
and like
dogs can have
every
that.
morning when I get out of the shower, she's waiting there at the shower, and I have 2 of them,
Nick, are you listening to?
and
any
I
of
give her
this?
2 of them every
You
morning.
do not give your dog
real.
mints.
Okay, even I don't do that.
She loves
Yeah, you
me.
feed him chicken nuggets,
It's-
and Travis feeds his
So
dog
you
mints.
can't give dogs
Okay.
that xylene stuff. but
Everybody
this
get
you
this
can.
picture in your mind. Travis getting out of the shower, butt naked, feeding his dog
Dad
mints.
bod.
Has everybody
Oh
got
my
that
gosh.
picture?
Oh
That's
yes.
disturbing.
Here you go, puppy.
Take
here.
your mint from
Come here,
Daddy.
Callie.
No, I'm just thinking my dog waiting outside of the shower.
She
for
does
me.
right for me
She
every
knows
day.
she's
She
about to
knows.
get that mint.
Every morning, and she's getting to where she's almost blind and stuff, so she's always bumping into stuff. I'm telling you.
She might end
she's
up walking in the shower.
She's
I mean,
getting
nobody-
rough.
God.
She's like all over the place, and I'm
So
like,
this
I'm
whole
right here, girl.
discussion we were having about dogs going to heaven is like becoming real for you.
For real, she's my baby. I
Yeah.
love her.
Yeah.
Oh my
This
god.
is a sensitive subject.
Yes, I'm telling
For
you.
real.
So it's a
For
sensitive subject
real.
only for Jenny, and now maybe Travis.
No.
I've had a lot of dogs, but when you have a Yorkie, that's a whole
You
nother
mean one you
game.
can carry around in your purse?
Oh my god, I love her. She's my baby. She's
Listen,
tiny.
the
but I
Shoemakers
love
have
her.
a Yorkie, and the thing is the meanest dog I've ever seen.
Oh no, no.
Bites you. I'm like, what?
Oh
happened?
no.
Your
See, she's
ankles.
just they're probably mean to her.
Didn't Tyler get a Yorkie?
No, he
didn't
had
they have
some
they
other.
had some little
He
dog?
had some. It peed all over. Is what it was.
That's great.
It was a peeing machine. Is what it was.
Okay.
It sat there, and it was
Okay.
constantly peeing. I'm like, that's what you get. If you get a boy dog and you have him in the house, he just goes around everywhere.
So the boy dogs are different than the girl dogs when it
yes,
comes to peeing on
girl
things?
dogs are so nice. They don't do
No,
all
I
that.
think boy dogs are nicer.
Seriously?
Yes, seriously.
Okay,
I
we
don't
can't
know.
get deep in this. We will never get through the podcast. at
Oh,
all.
I know. I could
Nick,
talk
is
about
that
dogs
true?
all day.
I have
Yes.
seen boy
Yeah.
dogs
So
destroy houses.
listen, we're always looking for sponsors. So now Kit Kat and Altoids ought to jump on
Oh,
board.
Yeah, right.
Because
that's
the
right.
commercial break that you guys just got in the beginning
Right.
of this,
You're
that you have
welcome.
2 people that are
Yep.
fiending, I think was the
Fiending.
word.
Fiending.
We
Fiending
need them.
for your product.
Those are
Yeah.
our
So
candy.
Kit Kat, jump on board, or Walmart. Come
Yeah.
on.
That
Come on,
too.
what the
no,
heck?
listen, fiending, if you don't understand the word, it's like a crack addict when they're on the floor.
Yeah.
when they're on the floor digging for
I'm
stuff.
I'm telling you.
I didn't get it in the mic, I promise.
If
No,
I-
yes,
If
I
I
know.
found one on the floor and didn't have any, I'd eat it.
For sure. I
wouldn't
was
care.
like going through my counters.
We
my
have went
stuff.
off the rails in the
I would eat
podcast.
it.
Okay,
Totally.
let's bring it back
Okay,
together.
all right.
So
Okay.
Travis, let's
Okay.
get to know you a little bit. So Travis, known for how many years now have you been coming to life?
Yeah, how many have you been?
Probably 5 or 6, isn't it?
I would have said 6 or 7.
I'm
but either
horrible with time.
Either
so-
way, so I think you
Yeah.
I think you have a really cool story. So tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
like how you ended up at Life Church, kind of where you're at in your journey, what's going on. you know.
Let's see. I ended up here because it was time for me to journey out and figure out another church to go to because it was just it was time. I didn't want to go back to church.
I think that's an
I was
important part
ticked
of your
off.
story because,
Yeah.
well, I mean, if people don't know this, like
Okay.
Travis was highly involved. Not,
Yes.
Very, yes.
Not little involved.
Yes.
He was, I think, an elder.
I was
I mean,
an
I don't
elder.
know what exactly,
I was an
but
elder
you were for sure
for
like way involved in the other church.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years. I was an elder.
Yeah, I always
And
remember you being an
I
elder.
was ticked by the time I got out of there, and just things had happened, and I never wanted to go to church again.
Right, the reason I bring that up is because your story isn't different than a lot of people's.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who have been involved in the church, because of whatever. I mean,
Right.
it can be everybody has their own circumstance, but there've
Sure.
been a lot of people, like when we came to Huntington to plant a church, the story that we heard from the majority of people wasn't that they had never been to church. It's been, I've been
Right.
to church
Yeah.
and I've been
Church
burned and I
hurt 'em.
never want to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're going to have to convince me that church is trustworthy.
Yeah.
It wasn't that Jesus being trustworthy.
No.
Like, I think
No.
that was the important
No,
part.
yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
that like we don't think Jesus is trustworthy.
No, that's
but
not
the
it at all.
church
Yeah,
isn't.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, I've known murderers, I've known thieves, I've known drug dealers, and the meanest people I ever met were at church.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is no doubt.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And it is sad, but I see now that church is somewhere we need to come to gather again. Even if you do get burnt,
Yeah.
you know, you still have to come back and step back in the water and get your foot back
How
in there.
tough was it coming back? Like, was it hard?
You're very on guard. Your guard
Yeah.
is up so hard. You're like, no way, nope, don't want to get involved, not doing nothing.
Right.
And I still struggle with it. It
It's
takes
almost
a while.
like being in an abusive relationship
Yeah,
is
it-
what I like. You
yeah.
kind of have PTSD from it in
You
a
do.
sense.
Really?
Because it's like you think everybody not necessarily is out to get you, but you kind of do.
You have very big trust issues, and fake people just are horrible.
Right.
I'd rather a real person. I don't care if you're a crackhead or a murderer or whatever you are. I mean, seriously.
Here's our second sponsor to the RoundTable podcast.
drug
Anybody that's a crack
Seriously.
dealer.
I'm telling you, I'd rather have you than a fake person any
Right.
day.
Well,
At
again,
least you're
why?
real.
I mean, I think that let's just bring this up a little bit. Why do you think it is that church creates an atmosphere of being fake? Like, I don't see. That's the thing that I've never understood because I don't see that. You know, I feel like Life Church is like we try to just create an atmosphere of like
Right.
you are who you are and it
Sure.
doesn't really matter and we do it from the
Right.
front. Like we don't have.
I think a lot of people get in their heads that they're like, oh, well, I got to hold up this appearance of being all holy and, oh, look at me, You see it all the time, church face. And even I was guilty of it sometimes when we were raising our kids. I mean, it's like there was a video once of mom and dad in the car, and they're like, rah, rah, rah. They're killing each other about, and they walk in the church. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
how you
Right.
doing? Hey, good day, you know? Church
Yeah.
face.
Right. Well, can we backtrack a little bit? Because I want to make sure
Let's
that too.
backtrack.
Well, I mean, I'm saying like to get to know how this all works. What are you laughing about now?
Nick started laughing and I was laughing at the backtrack.
Backtrack.
Let's backtrack.
Yeah. Can we hit? Is there a little rewind button on our sound machine?
Oh, that would be so great.
No, because again, I still think as if I got to hear Travis's story from being in small group with you. Because again, it's not like you grew up in church.
No, by no means.
So like your story was like I don't think you were much following Jesus.
No, not at all. I didn't accept Christ till I was 33 years old.
Right.
Up to that point, I always tell everybody I've pretty much done about everything besides murder anybody.
Yeah, that's good.
I've never done a murder, but yeah, I was probably
Not yet.
I was one of those bad people. I just
Not bad, but again,
Sin.
like everybody, you
Yeah.
went through.
Right.
You didn't grow up with this idea
No.
of like being in church, so you went the way a lot of people do, where you did whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all of that, what brought you to the place, or tell us that whole like, you came to the place where you needed to accept Christ. Why? What was going on in your life?
The only time you'd get me in church would be Christmas or Easter, so I was your typical C&E guy. Decided to go one time. It was an Easter actually, and I accepted Christ. And from there, it kind of started. More things just kept happening, and I actually came on at another church as a trustee, and I actually had weed with me at the time. And
I
no
was hoping
kidding.
you would tell. You told us in small group
What?
one time.
I've never heard
No,
this.
so he
Really?
gave his life to
So
Christ, and he
I
tells
had
a story
weed.
about smoking weed and reading the Bible.
I did. I would sit in my garage and I would
What?
read the Bible and I'd drink beer and I'd smoke weed. And this guy called me from this church. He's like, hey, we want you to be a trustee. And I had some good weed on me already. And I'm like, okay, God. They're like, we're going to vote tonight about it to see if you're going to be a trustee. And I'm like, okay. So I told God, I'm like, if they vote for me to come on trustees, then I am going to get rid of this weed.
Oh, wow.
As soon as they call me, I'm throwing it away because I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
the
sure.
guy that is, now I'm in leadership
Right.
and I'm still smoking weed. So they called me and they're like, hey, Travis, we voted. We want you on the trustees. I'm like, oh, man. Seriously?
Dang it.
So I had my weed. I went and I threw it out into the field and never touched it another time since then.
And that's why,
That's
listen,
amazing.
I just want to make sure that, because this is a misconception.
Yeah.
Right? The misconception is people give their life, you want to talk about
Right.
fake. The
Right.
misconception is you give your life to Christ and never make a mistake, don't still have a habit, and don't still have a problem.
Yeah, no.
Right.
So the reason I weren't sure if you would share it,
Yeah.
because I love the part of
I
the
love
story.
that too.
You gave your life to Christ and you're reading the Bible while you're smoking
Right.
pot.
Yeah.
And that's
The
what
point just is it's reality,
it
right? Not
was
everybody
that-
has it together.
Yeah.
But you came to a point, and that's the thing,
Yes.
is work out your salvation in fear and trembling, and you were working it out.
Yeah,
right?
I
And
had
so
accepted
people need
Christ
to get that piece
before-
of it. That's what I'm saying.
Before, and like I say, I would sit out there and smoke weed and drink
Right.
beer and watch football and everything. But
Right.
until it came to a point where I decided with God to make a deal and I was going into leadership role, I'm like, I'm not going to carry that with me
Right.
into it.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
again,
still-
it's a great
I
for,
still smoke cigarettes.
no,
though.
but for our audience, but again, I think our audience needs to realize that, because too many
Yeah.
times you hear the stories like, I
Right.
gave my life to Christ and just everything went away. Didn't
Yeah.
have one
Not
more
true.
problem again. And then that's why everybody struggles with this
No.
idea. We have this conversation all the time. Well, what about the person who gave their life to Christ and still does? Does that mean they're really saved? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I think you're missing it, because really you got to
Right.
understand everybody has something, you know, and you're just picking out, well, because they drink or because they smoke weed. Well, what if
Right.
you still have lustful thoughts?
Right.
Or what if you still, you know what I mean? It's all the same. We're all working it out.
Yeah,
you know,
it's-
trying to get that
It's
piece
between you and
figured out.
God. You know, when that, I mean, that's why you get a relationship with
Right.
God. You don't just, I mean, it's more, I don't care if you sit there and read the Bible backwards and forwards and know it all and everything, and I still can't tell you probably more than 5 verses off my mind because I just can't remember anything.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's not that. I got a relationship
Right.
with God,
That's
and
all
He
that
talks
matters.
to me. And
Right. So
I'm
that
definitely
was, I just
screwed
wanted
up
to make sure
still.
we got that in there. And then you end up going to church, you become a trustee, then you become a part of a church plant, and we're highly
Right.
involved, really excited about what's going on.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, everything crashes down. It
Sure
doesn't,
did.
yeah. So you get a view of the church that a lot of people have at times. It's like, this isn't right. Then you're in this transition period of saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm not going to stick my foot back in that fire again.
Yeah.
And then you and Misty both make a decision. How did you end up at Life?
Yeah.
We had tried. I think there was one other church that we had tried, and when we got here, I really liked the fact that you were just a normal dude up there, and you were like, you know, not all dressed up and prim and proper and stuff. And I'm like, hey, this is
Well, nobody's going to outdress
This-
Travis, by the way.
yeah, check this
Yeah.
out.
I'm not
Woo.
saying when Travis comes to church, Nick,
Yeah.
does he not
Right.
look like the most styling person you've ever
Whatever.
seen?
Perfect 10 every time.
No, I know.
Whatever.
He comes in and I'm like, wow, that guy's
Whatever.
got the stuff. Jenny, have you ever looked at Travis on a Sunday morning?
Yes.
Does he not look
Yes.
fly? That's the
That's
word,
just how
right?
I'm used to seeing him, though.
I know.
Yeah.
It even used to be worse, but thank God I can at least wear my boots and stuff now
Yeah.
a little bit. So.
Right. Yeah, so you ended up coming to Life.
Yep.
And it started
We felt good here. Again, we're still like, you know, I don't know if I
Guarded,
want to get,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
guarded.
Right.
And that guard, you know, I keep trying to let it down more. It's down most of the way, but I just still watch my steps.
Sure.
I mean, like you say, it could be a PTSD thing, but it's a thing with church
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
And that's sad. That really
So,
is.
yeah, and I've ran into people with that, and you know sometimes that's a good thing because you can relate to them and be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, you got burnt, but you gotta give it a try or try it to
Right.
do something. To
Yeah,
get
and so
back involved.
on that note, so Travis comes to Life. I get involved with, so I know a little bit of his story. We talked through some things. We started a men's group, so we get a men's group started. We were meeting for, I don't know, a couple years.
Yep.
You
Oh,
know,
wow.
and I had sat there in the meeting, and I'm like, you know what? All of you guys are leaders. This is ridiculous. Why are we all sitting here,
Right.
meeting in this meeting when you guys should all be out leading something? So you and
Sure.
Brad
Yep.
went off and said, you know what? Because we had always said this, like, try to figure out what God has gifted you with and then
Right.
try to give it back to other people and build relationships. So you guys started Adulting 101.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that.
Adulting 101, we just started, excuse me. It actually, I got a call one time from a young girl who used to be in my youth group when I helped with youth. And she says, hey, Travis, I got this sound coming from my motor. Can you help me? Do you know what this is? So I'm like, okay, put the phone up there. Let me hear it. So I started listening to her motor and stuff over the phone. And I'm like, ooh.
That's impressive. I can't even tell by
That don't
anything.
sound
You
good.
didn't know where the motor was.
What motor?
That don't sound good. So
idea.
that just kicked something in my mind. I'm like, the youth and stuff, or the kids, even adults maybe anymore, don't know how to work on cars. They don't know how to fix things around the house. So I was like, and I got with Brad. I was like, hey, Brad, here's the deal. This is what I had happen. What do you think about we start to show people how to work on their car? We show them how to fix things around their house. Whatever,
With the purpose of, again,
Yeah.
you guys are very specific about this. Like, we're going to give them all these gifts with the purpose of building relationships.
Right. And that's what it was.
Yeah. And again, you guys built a house.
Yeah, well, we tried
Still
to.
down there?
No, the old
not?
cove took it kind
Aw.
of broke the whole thing up. So, but a lot of people, we did build some relationships. I still see the people and I see them around Walmart.
But the reason I bring it up is because the idea was, and this is what we're always challenging people with, and you took this, which was to say, it doesn't have to be traditional. It
Right.
doesn't have to have a
Right.
traditional church name on it.
Right.
It has to be like God's put something in me, and I'm going to do it purposefully. And in that purposefully, and it can have a season. Like Adulting 101 was a season, and it might have another season.
Right.
Like it's not going on now.
Sure.
But it had a season, right? And so the point just always is we use our giftings that God gives us. And I just
Yep.
wanted to point that out because it has been a part of where you've taken the challenge, which is what we've always said. Here's what we're asking people to do. We never want Life Church to be in a box. Like we want to
Yep.
blow the box up. Nobody wants to live in that. The reason people don't trust it is because it all looks the same. They go to one or the other, and one might have a better worship team and one might have a better preacher. But
Right.
at the end of the day, it's the same mold, right?
Yeah.
You're doing the same exact thing happens. So we need to be doing something different because
Right.
here's what we know about church right now. It's not working. Right? We already
Yeah.
know that traditional church done in just a traditional way are not reaching people. The United States of America, the amount of converts in the United States is going down. Around the world, it's going up. We're the
Right.
only place that essentially Christianity is dying. Everywhere else Christianity is flourishing.
Yeah.
So you got to think of things outside of the box. We can't just try
sure.
to figure out how to be better at.
Yeah.
We can't be the way it used to be. Well, they
Well,
have an organ, and now we have a band, and so come. to
God's
that. So-
given us all talents, and
Yeah.
one of my talents is I'm more of a mechanical person. I work with my hands and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, you know what? This is what I can do, so let me use it. I'm not a preacher, and I sure ain't no singer, even though I still do it on Sunday. But the people in front of me are like, oh my God, that guy, shut up.
The point is, you are what he
Yes.
called us to be, and that's
Right.
disciples. We're
Exactly.
all
Yes.
disciples.
Yes.
Right? And every disciple had a gifting, and the gifting with a purpose. And if you have the gifting with a purpose, then you can move into places where we need to be.
Right.
Right? And
I used the talents I had to try to reach people for God.
Right. And that's what we're trying to get people to understand. That's
Yes.
why I think it's so cool about your story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so
Just a normal messed up dude.
do what?
Just a normal messed up dude.
Oh, well, that's
all I
what
am.
Life
Just
Church is
a
made
messed
of.
up- yeah.
Life Church is made up of normal.
God's closer to the brokenhearted.
Yeah. Life Church is full of broken
Yes.
people.
Yes.
Right? And
Yes.
that's the way it should be.
That's the
That's
beauty
right.
of it.
Right.
That's the
That's
reason
something
why
I
I
like.
fell in love with it. And I'm sure you did too, because it
Yes.
was so warm and loving and kind against everything that we had been used to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was down. I mean, a lot of people say this about Life Church. It's like down to earth. Like you can figure it out.
Yes.
We're all on the same journey. No people are elevated. We talk about that all the time. No one here is elevated above anybody else.
Yep.
We all just have a role, right?
Yeah.
And as long
That's
as
a good
everybody
thing.
carries out their role, no one is more important than anybody else. And
Yep.
I think that's really important inside of the church.
We're all made of mud.
What did you say?
We're all made of mud.
Oh, I thought you said money.
Oh, God.
So not all of us. Some of us spend it on pumpkin pie cake or pumpkin spice Kit Kats.
Yeah. So, Travis, tell us a little bit about you. Like, what do you like to do? Are you watching anything on TV? Are you doing anything, with your family, your wife? Tell us a little bit about your own personal life. What's
Okay,
going on?
my personal life.
We already know he has a dog that waits out
I
of his
love my
shower.
little dog. Yeah,
What's the
she's
dog's name, by the way?
Callie.
And Callie accepted Jesus Christ
Yeah.
as her Lord and
Yes,
Savior.
so she's going to heaven.
She
'cause
is.
We talked about this.
Yep, because she has a soul.
Yes.
This was the pre-podcast
But
conversation.
look at my shirt, though.
That's going to have to come back
Oh,
with.
look
Can we look at my shirt?
Oh my
I
God.
ordered it on Amazon specifically for this day. Can we
Yeah.
not just look at it? What
Yeah.
does it say?
Yeah,
If
she got it off of Theology to Not Believe
I
It
did
101.
Okay,
If you
do
bought it on
wait, wait, wait.
Amazon, it has to be true.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Just like
we-
the internet.
Yeah, can we look
Well,
at
and
me
by
for
the
a
way,
second?
why don't you give a quick shout out to your book that you got too?
Oh, I
that you-
will. Do you want me to say it correctly?
Yes.
We'll
No,
link that in
like
the show
Yeah,
notes.
say it the way you said it the
Say it,
first
Jenny.
Will I
time.
see Fido?
Fido. That's how she started. When I see Fido in heaven, and Travis like, nope, that's Fido.
Okay, but how do you really know?
Huh?
How do you know?
Because
This
everyone's
is the
heard of
generation.
Fido.
Nick. How do you really know?
You say tomato, I say tomato. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
she
but,
says Fido, we
hey,
say Fido.
can we just please read my shirt for 1 second? If you don't
everybody
believe
saw it. Nick already got a
they
big
have,
zoomed in picture.
oh, he
of
did.
it. Huh?
But maybe they didn't read it. They want to hear it from my voice.
Okay, go ahead and
If
say
you don't believe they wait.
Oh my God.
You need Travis to read it for
If
you.
you don't believe that they have souls, you haven't looked into their eyes long enough.
You still have to ask them if they accept Jesus Christ.
Travis had to leave his
already-
Yorkie Callie to Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe we should do a sermon on will you ever be disappointed in heaven?
Yes. Sure will.
This might
That could get
be
rough.
one of them. You know, so before you enter the gates and Jesus talks to you and be like, by the
Oh,
I
way,
have one question. Are dogs in there? 'Cause if not, I'm turning around and going
We
back.
had this question.
No,
and-
you're not.
No, listen, when we talked about this we talked about this in
Yes.
season 1, and we hardly ever got feedback in season 1, and we got feedback.
We got a lot.
About Mike. Didn't you know? Like, this says they're animal. I mean, there was a lot of
It's
like.
a sensitive
boy.
subject, I'm telling you.
Yeah, okay,
Just
so-
like, well, the lady gave me, what was her name? She gave me the thing about the pamphlet, so I felt called to talk
The thing
about
about the
it.
pamphlets.
Well, there we go.
Yes.
Okay.
I know it's very descriptive.
That helped.
You know, that
The-
whatchamacallit
the
that we
pamphlet
seen at
about animals going to heaven.
Huh?
She gave it to us on Sunday. Anyways.
This Sunday?
I don't remember. We should just carry on.
Yeah. Okay, so Travis,
Okay.
we learned about your dog. What else? Tell us what
Okay,
else about your
so let's see.
dog Callie.
Gosh, what have I been married? Like 80 years or something. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
Misty.
kidding.
Misty,
No,
it's been a great 80
my
years,
Lord.
though.
Hey, that's what he
It's
doesn't
been
know.
so good. It's only felt like
No.
10. That's what he meant.
I've had
It's
my
only-
beautiful wife for 25 years now.
That
Wow.
she put
Together.
up with you for that long.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Seriously, that
well,
Misty-
we've been together 29.
That's what I'm
so,
saying. That
That's
Misty put
amazing.
up together, yeah, with you that long.
We have 2 mean children, and then we have 2 beautiful grandchildren.
2 mean children.
Yes.
And 2 beautiful.
Because kids
But they
are-
made good grandkids.
Yeah, well,
So they're
yeah,
okay.
I say, yeah, one side did so far, so...
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Mariah
the
and
other ones
Josh
haven't got nothing going on yet,
Got
but
it. Got it.
they're all married
They
off,
ain't
you know,
got
all that.
nothing going
Yeah.
on yet.
So, the grandkids are so much better than kids, just so everybody
I feel like
knows
everybody
that.
says that.
For sure, kids, you know.
Yeah, raise them up, get them out,
Yeah,
and then
get 'em out.
grandkids, it's like have fun and
Oh
send
my
them
God,
home.
they're so
Yeah.
much better.
Yeah.
So,
And
that,
they're even better when they can get older and do like you posted a video on Facebook of them riding around in their little
Yes.
car.
That was cute.
yes.
Yeah, once
That
they
was
get
so
old
We
enough to have
souped that up a
personality.
little bit too, and we had to stud the tires and
Yeah,
stuff.
put
so
12-volt batteries in
Well,
them and-
I did that with one, but we burnt the motor up, and Colton was sitting in it. He's like, "Papa, it's smoking." I'm like,
My
"Okay,
butt is hot.
get out of the car. Get out of the car."
That's what we
Burn
used
it
to
up.
do with all of our electric ones. We put 12-volt
Well,
batteries
this
in them.
motor
Those
did
things
not
fly.
hold up, but
Didn't it
oh my
really?
God, it was hilarious though. He'd take off like in a
Oh, no, those
wheelie.
things fly.
It was like, oh, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
We did that for all of our kids'
Oh
electric
my
things.
And we
Yeah.
studded the tires on that one too, so it would hook up on the ground. And, man, that's
Drag
it
racing
was
at the Harrisons.
Oh, the wheelie and a power
Little kid
wheel.
style.
Yeah. Okay, so grandkids and married to Misty, 20, however many years. He says feels like 80, but he didn't really mean that, Misty.
Lord.
Feels like 5.
No,
Yes.
No.
Feels like we just met, honey.
I've been a carpet installer for 29 years now. I should
Wow,
be
just as
dead or in a
long.
wheelchair.
But you're still cooking along.
I'm still cooking. Still
and if
going.
anybody was on Snapchat, I don't have this anymore, but my wife used to laugh every time
yes.
when
God,
Travis
yeah.
used to put out his Snapchats.
I've been watching
Do you remember those, Nick?
Snapchats lately.
Huh?
Yeah.
You do still do that?
No, not too much.
Yeah,
not
well,
too much.
You sent me a happy birthday
yeah,
using a
that's
Snapchat filter, and I just died. It was
Yeah, it used to be a thing. And
my
Sherry'd be
gosh.
like, did you see Travis's?
Yeah,
You know?
he's such a dork.
You should-
Oh my God.
yeah, but that's what is amazing, like about you.
You should see
Your
my newest.
personality.
That he's a dork?
Did
Yes.
Did you see my newest photo on Facebook?
No.
Me being a cholo.
No.
Being what?
Cholo.
A cholo.
A Mexican gangster.
Nope, I have not seen that.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Somebody gave
Jenny's
me,
writing this down. I gotta go look.
somebody
Facebook?
gave me
Yeah,
a new
Facebook.
Somebody gave me a new sock.
Cholo.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
And you already
I-
got the chains.
Yeah, man. I was
to
like,
do
yeah,
it.
He's
yeah.
just set. Oh my
Yeah, I know.
God.
The chains, the
I
hat.
took 'em
Yeah,
all
you
out.
got
I'm
the
like,
goatee.
yo, and I had
Yeah.
a friend that right there. He had a lowrider, a bicycle. I'm like, dude, this
What?
is set up.
It's a
for me.
lowrider or a bicycle.
Yeah.
One of
so
the two.
it's a lowrider bicycle.
It's a
I put my-
lowrider bicycle?
Yes, I can show you a picture real
Well,
quick.
no,
You wanna see
listen,
it?
what we'll do is we'll put
Hilarious.
it up
Oh,
this
yeah.
week, Jenny,
Yes.
as a, like, here's a picture of our guest, Travis
Yes.
Harrison, so it can go on.
Oh my God.
It can go on as
my
part of our
wife
podcast promotion.
I already
She
have
wants
an
to-
idea.
She
Yeah.
wants to kill me every time I do this on Facebook or something. She's like, "You are such
Misty
an
does.
idiot." Yeah, she's
No,
like,
Misty
"Why do
used
you
to
do
always be
that?"
like, everybody would come and talk. She used to talk about this, so everybody come on Sunday. Your husband's so awesome.
yeah,
and Misty would
right.
be like, oh, stop encouraging
"Oh
him.
yeah."
Stop
she's
encouraging
she's
him.
always like, "Why do you do that, Travis?" I'm like, "This is me."
She should be used to it by
Why
now.
not? Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
part of your personality.
yeah, I'm just.
What does the back of your car say on your license plate? It says something hilarious, but I can't remember.
What? Well,
The
I.
red-
On which one is
The
vet?
red one.
No, I
Oh,
got
it's
rid
vet.
of the vet. The
Okay.
vet said, "See you later."
Yeah, I thought that
What?
was funny.
You got rid of the vet?
Yeah, I got the truck. I trade. It's got more horsepower. Truck's
The
got
truck.
more horsepower, so
What?
faster.
Is this something new? Have we seen the truck?
I don't know. You would know it if you seen it. It's very patriotic.
Is it really?
It really
Nick,
is.
have you seen it?
I don't think I have.
The truck's license plate says Minuteman, which
Minuteman.
my wife told me. My
Whoa, here we
wife told
go.
me, she's like, Travis, you don't want to be named that. I'm like, no, really, not like that type of Minuteman. Like,
I didn't
The-
catch it till after he
like,
said that. You don't want to be known
the
that way as the
Revolutionary War
Minuteman.
type
History
Minuteman.
Minuteman.
Really,
History
that was the
Minuteman.
first thought that came
yeah.
to my mind.
So
It did
yeah,
not.
I swear.
The History Minuteman or the other Minuteman?
Wait, which man?
well,
No, he
not
was
the
talking
one
in a.
the
He was talking one in like a
the song.
relationship.
Yes,
Minuteman.
that's what I was talking
That's what you were
about.
thinking
Yes.
about. Oh, I instantly
No.
thought about historical
Thank you.
Minuteman.
I don't
That's
know
the one
who
I'm
this
shooting
Minuteman
for.
is.
Yeah.
You what?
I don't know who that is.
You don't know historic?
It's the Revolutionary
No.
War.
Did you go to school,
Oh my
Jenny?
Lord, Jenny.
You know,
Oh
I don't know if I was paying attention. I wonder.
Study history.
I hated history.
Oh my gosh.
I
Old
love
things freaked
history.
me out.
I love
License
history.
plates.
Old
That-
things freak
I
me
got
out.
Yes.
a number one carpet man on one work van. And then I have the other work van that says boss man.
Boss man.
There you
Boss
go.
man.
I didn't know you could make your license
Yeah.
plate say
Yes. I go in and I'm like, ooh.
Hey,
what-
did you know
what-
that
what
you have
can-
to pay your license renewal at the same time every year?
anything. Is this a joke?
Oh my
Remember, it
God.
happened to me last year. I was
No,
like,
I know.
oh,
Like it's your
pay
last
You're
name.
talking
What's
about your plates,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. What's your
Okay.
last name?
Yeah, you
Walker.
Yeah. So the W comes in what month?
Yeah.
Well, I know November because I got an email.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot.
Everybody's letter goes to different
I didn't
months.
know that though.
Oh my Lord,
Till
girl.
last year.
She's like driving around 2 years later.
Like,
You just thought it came up just whenever?
yeah. I just I didn't know, honestly.
What are
I
we
don't
gonna do
even
with
know.
you, Jenny?
Well, for part of it was because I didn't have a car. You know, the state wouldn't
Oh.
allow me to drive for a while.
And if you've ever heard her stories from season 1, you would know why.
Yes,
When she was
right,
evading
yeah.
police running through Decatur and doesn't remember like an hour of her
Yes.
drive.
Yes.
Not good.
Yeah, that
not
was bad.
good.
But
Yeah.
here we are today. And I have had my car, and I have had my insurance for the longest that I've ever had it in my whole entire life.
Which is a
Good for
year.
you.
Over a year. It's almost 2 years.
No, good for you.
Yeah, I've almost got some
Victory.
stuff knocked
Victory.
off.
The girl's got a
Okay, so are
victory.
you reading anything, listening to anything?
Okay, so
Passionate about
I
anything right now?
absolutely hate reading. That's
Yep.
sorry, guys, but I make it maybe a paragraph and I am falling asleep. I'm bored to death.
ADHD.
Boring.
Do you have that? I feel like you
well,
do.
probably.
I think so.
You need to slip some medicine in
So-
his Altoids.
Yeah.
That's illegal. Well, not.
So-
I'm pretty sure some cops watch
Oh
this.
my lord! So I do
Go look on
Audible
Market Street somewhere
because I can't focus reading. I'm just
Okay, so not reading.
no
watching.
reading. I do Audibles. I
Yeah.
did
Audible's
just
reading.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Isn't
yes,
it, Nick?
dude. That's all
on.
I can do.
Yes.
Are you getting through a book?
Yeah,
with
sure.
Audible?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
I can do
Thank
it.
you. That's what we
Because
keep telling people.
I put my headphones
Against
in,
one.
and
Jennifer
I can probably
Eller, did
finish
you
a
hear
book in
that?
2 days.
Yes.
So, 2 of them that I just got done with Spiritual Warrior. That's a pretty cool book.
Spiritual Warrior.
Spiritual
that's
Warrior.
That one I've listened to.
And then, of
Red.
all the ones I just finished was Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, Green
Green Lights.
I loved it.
Have you?
What?
Did you?
Green Lights is one of the best books
That
I've
is
ever
a
read.
good book.
Listen,
I was going to send it to you. I
that-
was like,
oh,
that's
I've
good.
listened to it 3 times.
Really?
And the funny
What?
thing is, Nick, have you listened to it?
What is
It
it
is
about?
Matthew McConaughey. It's about his life.
Yeah.
And it has some like raunchy parts in it.
Sure.
But it is so good. And
It
again,
is
he's
a good
talking
book.
about when life brings you red lights and you
Mm-hmm.
need to stop, and green lights when you need to go. And so
Wow.
It's
the
good,
story's
though.
incredible. I
Yeah,
mean, it
it's-
has some like weird moments, the Amazon River moments.
Right. Yeah.
You went to the Amazon
Oh.
River?
Yes, he did. He was
Listen.
floating naked on it.
I wasn't going to go into it completely.
Yeah.
You just have to read it. There's
Yeah,
a lot that goes
it's
into
good,
why
though.
he ended up
Oh my
at the
gosh.
Amazon River floating down there naked.
It's his real life.
But you have to
things that
read
have
it.
really happened. It's
And he
like
fought some guy in Africa that was like the
Right.
#1 fighter, and he just decided to show up in a village,
Yeah.
floated down a river, and fought.
he's
and,
actually had a pretty cool life. It's like, dude, you wouldn't
Yeah, no,
expect
you-
that out
yeah,
of him.
You
and
would
he,
not think that would be a good
He
book.
came from
All
kind
my
of a
kids
rough
have read
past,
it.
so
Yeah, I read it. We've all actually.
It's a
listened
good
to
book.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I'm gonna
I
put that
was a
Green
little bit
Lights.
sketchy about it because I was like, really, Matthew McConaughey, really?
But it's really good.
But it was really good.
I mean, for a lot of reasons, like when he talks about his life and like red lights and green lights and how it all works,
And he's still
kind
I
of
mean-
find the rhythm. He talks a lot about what we do, is which like you got to find rhythm in life,
Right.
And you got to find what works for you, and it's
Yeah.
not always the same. And you know, people looked at his life and was like, that's kind of weird, but he found a rhythm and he
Right.
did it, and he went down that road, and it's
right,
pretty cool.
And he seems like he's a pretty put together guy.
Yeah. Well,
amazing.
I mean, some of the books might not think that way.
I know.
Now
And
he
we're
is.
only
Now he-
laughing
now
because
he is.
if you have read the book,
Yeah,
there's some
he-
places like one time he's arrested because he's high playing bongos naked in his house.
Yes.
And he gets arrested and he decides to not put clothes on to buck the system. So they take him down to the jail.
What a
And the
good
one-
guy.
and
I
the
like
one-
him.
And the one guy's like, you actually might want to put clothes on when you
Right.
go in the jail.
My gosh.
But anyway, so there's some
That's
places like
amazing.
that. which
It's a
is
good
like-
That's a
It's
hero
actually-
right there.
Yeah.
That is.
Here's how Jenny finds her heroes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, so the roundtable is about Sunday morning, so we want to continue the conversation. So we had made a decision, talking as a staff, that like with COVID and all of the things that went on, and regardless of which side you're on, people were upset, people were hurt,
Right.
lots of things have happened, people have been out of work. I mean, I think some of
Sure.
the things that we miss is there were some financial strains, like a lot of farms, you know, like that I was involved with, that were generational farms, went bankrupt.
Yep.
You know, because you couldn't
Yeah.
get food in, and like there was a lot of things that happened. A lot of people argued over masks or not masks, vaccines or not vaccines, opening churches or not opening churches, and really didn't look at the true
Such a
like
horrible
depression, like the people that were stuck at home, and the suicide rate was going up,
Yeah.
the addiction rate was going up.
sure.
They weren't looking at the pre-cancer screenings that people couldn't get done, and so people that have stage further cancer than what they would have if they would have been able to do it. So there was a lot that went on during COVID that
Behind the
pain.
scenes.
That's what I'm saying. There was just pain in it. And then, you know, the church throughout its history, you know, has went through pain. We've had people who have lost sons and daughters. We've had people at a very young age. We've had people that, Paul, who was on staff, and had made a decision to take a step out in faith and, quit his insurance, which is a huge deal, and come on staff to work here, and then ends up getting cancer and dying. Sherry ended up, passing away. And so there've been a lot of hurt, right? And so from the history of the church, it's like, how do you actually deal with that? Like, what do you do with pain? Because most of the time when you talk about pain in a spiritual sense, most people are like, oh, let's just focus on hope and not the pain, right? So they're always just like, well, if you're ever going to get through the pain, all you need to do is think about the hope.
Sure.
Well, scripturally, it talks about that we need to lament, right? Which is this whole idea where it's okay to deal with the pain and see the hope, but you should do them at the same time.
Yeah.
And there's reasons why. Like, there's reasons why it's okay to complain or to be frustrated when life disappoints you. So we're going to do a night of worship. So it's coming up this Friday night. It's going to be a night of worship here at Life Church. So if you listen to this afterwards, make sure you come. It's going to be, if you've never been, you need to come. And if you have been and you're thinking, oh, it's going to be the same thing, it's not.
Right.
I mean, the work that Nick and Nichelle and the teams are putting into putting this night of worship together.
It's amazing.
Shout
Good
out
stuff.
to Nick
Yes.
and Nichelle
Woo! Go, Nick.
for all the hard work
Everybody
that they're
else.
doing. I mean, really, Nick,
It's
it's
a
going to be
lot.
cool, right? I mean,
Oh, it's going to be really cool.
yeah, I mean, in comparison, the other ones that we've done have been awesome, but like the atmosphere, you're just going to have to come and see it. The environment which they've set up.
We've never done anything like anywhere close to this.
This is super
That'll be cool.
exciting.
Not at all.
I can't believe it's here already.
Right. And so then we're
can.
also going to be doing with that 24-hour prayer. So we'll have night of worship, and then we go into a 24-hour prayer. And the 24-hour prayer was this idea, even so if you are hurting, it's a great place to come and navigate.
Yes.
If you're not hurting, it's another place to come and remember there are people that are hurting because you live in a bubble and you forget sometimes. There are other people in this world that you should intercede on, right? Like, you should intercede on behalf of the people that are.
Yep.
Just because you're not experiencing it at the moment doesn't mean somebody else isn't. So we felt like for 24 hours, we should come and work through those things.
Right.
For ourselves and for other people. And then we'll end it with a Sunday morning message that kind of brings it all back together. So this Sunday we talked about the idea is it okay to talk to God about, I'm disappointed in life?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
for sure.
I'm disappointed in the way things are going. And it really starts with that because that's part of the prayer of lament, right? The prayer of lament is to say, I'm disappointed with the way that life's turning out right now. And I'm not sure how to air my grievances. And so let's talk about how we as Christian people should air our grievances inside of that.
Right.
So Jenny, maybe start with you. Have there been places in your own life where you've just been like, I'm disappointed and it never thought life was going to turn out this way?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about that. It's like, how did you journey through? Like, you never predicted that certain things would happen in your life, right? And so when it didn't turn out the way you predicted, how did you deal with disappointment in life?
I don't know, because for me, those situations where I've thought that there's been so many in my life that it's each time that it's happened, something different came from it.
Okay.
But for the most recent, when I experienced feeling like everything was wrong, there was no hope for anything later on. I don't, now that I'm talking, I really don't know what I did.
Okay.
To get through it. But I know I had people around me, so there we can start with community.
But I would say in the beginning, I'll just talk about even this recent time where life was maybe not going the way and you were looking for something else. The first thing you did was isolate yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
So the first thing, and that's all I'm trying to say, is
Okay,
usually
yeah.
in disappointment, right, the first thing that we do is pull away and isolate.
Definitely,
Right? And so we start working through our own thoughts with our own thoughts, right? And then we start putting it in there. So part of your journey was isolation. And that's what I want our audience to get to is the whole journey. Because we know at the end of it, we should be going to God and we know we should be going with people. But it usually, when disappointment
Doesn't start
happens,
that way.
it hardly ever starts with the point of going
Right.
to God with it or going to, because do you think, people think it's wrong to complain and tell God what you gave me sucks? Do
yeah,
you?
yeah. I think people.
Do you think
do that.
people would struggle saying like,
Absolutely.
I think you were wrong. I think you shouldn't have given me this. I think
Absolutely.
You think they would struggle saying that?
I think it's made to seem like we should honor God for everything that He has done and everything He will done, and it's not really talked about as much as we should tell God that our life sucks.
Yeah, like people have told me this, and I try to tell anybody that I'm working with from a grief standpoint, because I've heard this even in my own situation, is like, well, you know, somebody else has it worse. I'm
I
like,
hate
"Ju-
that.
just so you
That
know,
is awful.
just so you know, that doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. It makes you feel worse.
That doesn't
No,
really
no, no.
help anything when
Thanks
somebody's
a
like,
lot.
well, you know that
That's the-
other
I
people
hate
have
that.
experienced the same thing, or other
makes me
people have had
mad.
it worse. Well, but see, my point is because
Yeah.
they don't know how to deal with it.
Yes.
Like everybody wants to gloss over
Yes.
pain. That's all I'm saying. And
Yeah,
so
you
what
can't do
would you
that.
say if you're trying to help somebody through it, other than just say, you know what, here's what I'm going to tell you. It's okay right now to say, I think, God, you were wrong. I mean, I still say this.
Sure.
I've
Yeah.
said this to this day. You're not going to convince me until I stand in front of Jesus Christ, even though I know this theologically,
Right.
that I felt like it was the right time for you to take my wife. Like, I'm just not. I mean, I'm not going to, there's nothing on this world that's going to convince me, and I don't care what anybody else says to me. I know what it says
Right.
theologically. I know that the time that she was born and the time that she dies was already set. I know that God has a plan. I know He's painting a bigger picture, and I know that it's all pretty. It
But,
still doesn't
yeah.
change.
You're still
that
ticked.
I was still
Yeah.
completely upset, and I still deal with some of those things. And all I'm saying is, we'll get to the other end of it, like how I've unpacked this, but it has to start with, are
Right.
you just okay saying, God, I think your timing was wrong. I think what you've given me sucks. I think that the realization of what's going on in my life right now isn't the way that it was supposed to be. Like, how do we get to the place where people can just be okay sitting in a circle and being okay when somebody's had hurt, just saying, you know what, I'm with you. I think it sucks too.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be like, well,
Yeah.
you know,
Making it
somebody
better.
else, or somebody else lost their child, or somebody else
Right.
lost
It's
their
gonna be
wife, or
okay.
somebody else, and
Yeah.
it'll all be okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And did you ever have anybody in your times
well,
like?
the only thing I can think of right now is something that was said to my cousin who had lost a baby recently. Well, not recently, but somebody had told her, because she has other kids. At this time, she had two, and they're like, "Well, you still have two other kids. Some people don't even have that." And it's like that child was a different human
Right.
being. You know,
Right.
like
Right.
I think that when people say things like that, it's because they're uncomfortable. I think in those moments when you talk about, you know, losing somebody or just something really difficult, we don't like to be around that because it does make us uncomfortable, and it's really hard to even know what to say to somebody. So I think just their society is used to making it like sound better, like things like that was said to you, the
Right.
have it worse, because it sounds good in your head, but really.
Well, and Travis, so have you ever been at a place where you've been disappointed and like in life and the way things are going, and you know,
Sure.
dealing with those things?
And I think a lot of people think that you can't get mad at God, but I mean, sure you can. I mean, I think you can, if you want to yell at Him. I mean, sure, He may not like it or whatever, but you know, it's a relationship.
Well, wait a
and-
second.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. I never really thought of it when you said it like that. So you think that people don't think it's okay to yell at God?
No, God, no, because He's the
Yeah.
Almighty, and you know, you don't yell at God because He's the superior of everything. You don't yell at your superior. You don't think, but
So you think they kind of put it in this like he's your drill sergeant, so you don't yell at your
Right.
drill sergeant?
Kind-
type
yeah, if
thing?
you
or
wanna
you don't
put it
yell at
that way.
somebody who's
Sure. And even, I mean, He is our Father, so you actually think of it too, kind of as your Father.
Like,
You
don't talk
You
back.
don't, yeah, you don't talk back, and you sure don't raise your voice. You're gonna get smacked.
Yeah, but
So-
see, you know, the funny thing is, I was having this
Come down from
conversation
heaven.
because I don't know that, I still don't know this, like trying to raise kids. I'm not sure if I did a good job or didn't do I
I
honestly
think
don't know.
everybody says that.
But here would be my point. I always taught my kids, let's have it out.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me. You can
Right.
scream at me. I would rather you have it out with me
Yes.
Sure.
and tell me how you feel
Yes.
than I would
Yes.
be for you to repress your feelings,
Yeah.
to
Right.
isolate
For
yourself,
sure.
or to go tell somebody else. Right? I would much rather just have it out. Like, I'm not offended when
Right.
you yell at me and you think that I'm a jerk. Like, join the club. There's plenty of you out there that think I'm a jerk. Like, I don't mind. That doesn't bother me. So it's weird to think, have we
Yeah.
created a culture even in our own
Yes.
society?
And I think that's what it probably is. I mean, even like you may be a different breed to say,
You're
well,
special.
he's definitely a different breed, but
Yeah, that's
a different breed.
for sure.
That you told your children that because a lot of them might be like, you say something, I'm gonna knock your teeth
Yes.
out.
Well,
you know?
Nick,
Yes.
so Nick, support me a little bit on this.
Yes.
So even in our staff, don't I try to create this environment that would say, Nick, you can tell me if I'm a terrible leader.
You welcome it.
I do. Like, it really doesn't
Bring
bother
it.
me. No, because I
Right.
have been. Ask Nick. I have led him in terrible ways at times. Like, and the only way I can know is if Nick will tell me.
Yes.
The
Yes.
reason that Nick and I are here today and great things are happening is because Nick was willing to tell me, like, you suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How am I supposed to know? And again, we'll get back to the comparison with God, but I think we have to learn to create a culture. Why is it wrong to tell people how you feel? Like,
Yeah.
why would we not, especially in the workplace? Like, why wouldn't we create this culture regardless of what my position is? Because Nick already thought I sucked. Why wouldn't he just tell me?
Right.
Well, I think the problem is we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yes,
I don't think
yes.
like you're like, you're not going to hurt my feelings.
No.
Like you just need to tell me how it is. I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people are like that.
Meaning you don't think people could take it? Like, you
Yes.
think it would be hard for people to hear
I don't
it?
think I could tell that to somebody else because I don't think they could take it. You've
Absolutely.
told me you can take it.
I have withheld stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard you say that, but I've withheld saying stuff to people and like for fear that they would
Right.
not react to it or it would hurt their feelings. So that's part of the reason too is people are afraid of.
Okay,
hurting
so let's
people's
just say
feelings.
that. So let's just say, like, all of our listeners, when it comes, we better start creating a culture.
Yeah,
You want to know
I
why it's
agree.
hard to say it to
Right.
God? Because we've created a culture that we can't say to each other.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So we better figure that part out.
Yeah.
Because I
Sure.
wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought that most people are just like, hey, because again,
No.
if I tell Nick that he sucks, it's not personal. It's because I love him. Like, I
Right.
think he has so much potential. And again, I don't think I say it exactly like that. But I mean, it's like, I don't have an issue saying, Nick, like, I don't think we're where we need to be. And it's nothing personal. I just know your potential.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to help see your potential. And so it's okay. Like, I think that's what so we're not creating those cultures. We better figure that
Absolutely
out
not.
because then to turn around and say, oh, say it to the invisible, almighty God that might strike you down
Yeah,
with
right.
lightning bolts. Oh, you should be okay telling me sucks.
Yeah.
Well, if we can't do it here, like if
Yes.
you can't create a culture of
That's
doing
worse.
it here,
Yeah.
how in the world are we ever going to do it with God?
Right.
Right? So you're never going to be able to unpack your hurt
Right.
if we haven't figured out how to unpack it with each other. Like,
Absolutely.
if we haven't figured out how to, if Jenny is hurt by me and she can't unpack it with me, how would you unpack it with God?
Exactly. That's
Right? So that's a
yeah.
great point, Travis. Like, I would have
Yes.
never thought that people would struggle just saying, you know what? God, this is awful.
Yeah, and I don't think I realized that until I actually
haven't
got
either.
into my relationship with him, and I'm like, dude, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna get mad, and I'm mad at you right now because what's going on here?
Yeah, so let's talk about why is it okay to talk through hurt. So one of the reasons that we want to take it to him, right, and this is what we talked about Sunday, is one of the realizations of airing your grievances is for him to remind us, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
This isn't your home. So you do actually live in a broken world where watching your wife be ravaged by cancer and lose 80 pounds and die a terrible death is a part of living in a broken world, and this isn't your home, but your home's coming. Right? Like, we do
Right.
have to be reminded of that because sometimes I think we think everything should be okay here.
Yeah.
You know, like everything should be okay. But if we go with this mindset, then actually no, because when sin entered the world, we're going to live in a broken world. And honestly, babies are going to be stillborn.
Right.
Kids are going
Right.
to die too early. I said this, like, you know, one of the hardest things was, like, when we take Sherry, it's hard to watch your own wife suffer.
Sure.
But when we take her up to get her immunotherapy, right beside it was pediatric cancer.
Yeah.
And so I would sit outside the door and watch all these kids
Yeah.
with their mom and dad walk in when those kids were this tall. And I'm thinking, God, what is going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Makes
These
you-
are children.
Yeah.
Like, these are children. They haven't had it. Sherry's at least 49.
Right.
Right? Like, it still seems young, but she's at least 49. These are little children hurting. They don't know what's going on. Parents that are, like, devastated, like, what's happening? It was so hard to see that. But again, when I go to God and say that, he can continue to come back to me and say, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
right.
I can't fix it all. I'm not here to take away all of the pain. I'm here to give you a future hope.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is hard, but if you don't go to him and complain first, sometimes and just gloss over it, sometimes you forget this isn't your own.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? And so
Yep.
part of going to him in the beginning was, and that was the whole idea of Mary, because that was the story we read. So the story we read was Mary Magdalene, which I always think is an interesting fact, which, probably nobody else cares about. That's not her last name. Did you know that? So Mary Magdalene is not her last name.
How did she get that name?
It was a town that she was from.
Oh,
So
yeah,
she was
yeah.
known
Oh,
as a
okay.
prominent
That's right.
woman in Magdala, which was a town at the time. And so she was known as Mary from Magdalene. So they call her
That's
Mary
funny.
Magdalene. Well, anyway, cured of 7 demons, became a disciple of Christ, followed him around all of that time. She was the last person at the cross and the first person at the tomb. And when she went to the tomb, essentially it was just to mourn. My life is terrible right now, and the only place that I know to go, because remember what the disciples were doing? So the disciples were back in the room. What were they thinking about?
They were, I don't remember actually.
They were wanted to go back fishing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right? Because you know what I mean? They were sitting in that room, and they were like, life's over. We don't know
Wanting
what
to
to do.
avoid
So
it.
now we're going to go back to doing what we know how to. They're going to try to fix the problem.
Yes.
Right? So
Yeah,
that's the issue. Like you guys were talking about, hurt sometimes is a problem because you're trying to fix it.
Absolutely.
Instead of just sitting in it for a moment, right?
Yeah.
So like instead of sitting in your hurt, so they went back to fix it. Mary went back to sit in it, and the only place she knew to sit in it was where she thought Jesus was.
Sure.
So she went there and she wept outside of the tomb. And so one is for us to be reminded that this isn't your home. The other thing is if you don't really experience true pain, can you truly experience pure joy? Right? Like the deliverance
Yeah,
of Christ. If you really don't experience the depths of pain, can you really experience the beauty of deliverance? Right?
Not
So
to
maybe,
the full.
so talk about that. So even in your own stories, where has it been? Like, these are the things in the depths of my pain, because it doesn't fix it. Like there's still no fix to the depths of your pain, but how is the joy of deliverance brought an offset? Because that's lament. That's what lament is. There is you're not going to fix this problem, but there is a deliverance in the midst of all of this. So have you ever had that, Jenny, in your own life where you can kind of talk through and help our audience see those things?
Yeah, so for me, I think like before I was in addiction, and I just didn't even think about having an addiction, but before that, it came to a point where I knew God and everything else, but it wasn't like a need for God.
Yeah,
And
like a
then-
relationship like Travis was
Yes,
talking
exactly.
about.
So
Right.
then when I got into addiction and then I did find God, it gave me another outlook on God and another need for him. Like I didn't just want him, but I needed him because I know where I had been and I know that this is so much better.
Right.
Yes.
And so you would say from the pit of, because anybody can find,
of hell.
and again, I want to make sure that everybody gets this. Not everybody has to be addicted to be in a pit.
Right.
No.
Right.
Right.
No.
I think people miss this. Like
There's
I've heard
so
so many
much.
people say, well, I don't have the addiction story.
Yeah.
But it can be
There's
anything.
other things
Listen.
in life that go
Anything.
wrong.
Well, I'll say it this way.
I still struggle with stuff.
Listen, no, but this is
know
what
what
I'm
I
trying
mean?
to tell them. And this is what we miss. It's not just, if you're in the lives of other people and you've really been with them through pain, you've been in the pit too. Like, have you ever
Oh,
sat with a mom
absolutely.
that just lost their 14-year-old son? Have you ever sat with a mom
Yeah.
who their baby just died? Like, there are pits that don't
Yeah.
have to exactly happen with you.
Yeah.
And that if you get into that pain with them and not just try to fix their pain, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, walk the journey with somebody. You're right. You don't have to have the addiction story. You don't have to have that I lost a kid story or a lost a wife story
No.
or came. But if
Right.
you walk a journey with people that have been there, you have seen the depths of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just sitting with them saying, let me fix your problem, let me fix your problem, let me
Right.
show you that there's always something great. No, we're asking you to do this.
Right.
Sit in it, right? Sit in the journey with Jenny.
That's hard.
Sit in the pit with Jenny before you can ever, walk the journey out of the pit, right?
Yeah.
But walk the journey together, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's important for us to understand because you're saying, I was in a pit, I was delivered, it grew my relationship. And I just want to make sure we'd say to our audience, because a lot of people are like, well, I was never like Jenny, so how can I really experience it? And that's part of it,
But
right?
to me, like everybody has something. Like it may not be as my story just happens to be really extra and really like
kind of like you.
yeah, very
I know,
much. So,
which is the
like,
great thing about your
God
personality,
needed
like
me
you're
to
really
get
extra.
to the bottom to be
Right.
able to
I'm
like wake
telling
me
you.
up, get me
She's
on
a
crack
miracle.
row to wake me up. No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh, boy.
everybody has pain. Everybody has a story. Like we all just went through the pandemic. That was traumatic enough. There are so many things.
No, but let me stop you for just a second because
Okay.
you know what the problem is. So, and I said this, and Nick might have heard me say it in one of our staff meetings. I'm like, I'm not arguing about mass. I'm not arguing about open churches. I just had a guy call me, 7-generation farm, lost everything because he can't get his beef to market right now. So sit in his pain before you tell me to wear a mask or don't wear a mask
Right.
or any of those things. Like, I'm not going through that right now. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to sit in the pain. And this isn't a plug to whether you should or shouldn't or how you should react. All I'm saying is let's sit in some real pain for a second instead of arguing about things that don't matter. That's all I'm saying. You're right. They don't have to have your story. But the problem is when you don't have a story, you look at dumb things and you don't get in it, right? Like go sit with somebody. Go in and realize the pain of their life for a second and be on their journey instead of just glossing it over and it's not you. Right. The people over in Afghanistan right now, missionaries being murdered.
Exactly.
Murdered. And you're sitting here being like, you know, they didn't play my favorite song and it was so hard to come to church because, and I'm like, I'm gonna smack somebody.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? There are people being like, they would barge into their church, take them out to the beach and behead them all. And you're worried about this? Like, I don't, like, we've missed sitting in the journey of pain to see the joy of deliverance. So I hear what
because we don't want to sit in
No, I know. That was my point.
Yeah, it's like they look past all of it.
Until it's your pain, you don't care.
Exactly. But that's sad, but it's true.
Well, but it shouldn't be. That's
shouldn't be
That's
true.
what we're trying to get to in this is that.
I think that happens a lot, but I mean, people got to realize they got to get in the ring.
Yeah.
Especially if you are strong with your faith, you need to get in the ring.
Absolutely.
Get in the pit.
Yeah, get in there and help them fight their way out because
That's what we're here
they're,
for.
I mean, they're at the bottom.
Right.
Give them a hand up.
Right.
Get them up there. Come on,
Seriously.
get on out of there.
Right. Right.
So-
Well, and again, but I think so many people don't want to be on that journey. Like, if it's my pain, it's my pain. If it's your pain, it's your pain. I'll deal with it when it comes to me. And I'm like, what would it look like for you to enter in the journey of someone else's pain?
How can we welcome that then? How can we make that?
Well, I think part of it is you have to be in community and have to be like, let's just start with you said. And I said this to you. I would ask you over and over, Jenny, how you doing? When you were in the cafe, remember these backstories to when you weren't doing so good? And I'd be like, hey, Jenny, how you doing? Oh, I'm good.
I'm
Why?
fine.
And I'm sitting there like, there ain't no way.
Yeah.
So one of the ways you
Okay.
started is to say, you know what? I'm not good. You don't have to fix me right now. I don't have to worry about what you think of me right now. Because the reason you wouldn't tell me is because you would be worried about what I thought or,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you didn't tell anybody.
Or I didn't want to deal with it.
So the point is we have to start with this. We have to be okay sitting in a room of people and just saying, you know what, these are my feelings today. Please, you don't even have to fix me. I said this to my men's group when they were together, and we were going through this with Sherry before, you know, where she had faced some stuff. And I said, here's all I need. I feel like I'm in a basement right now and it's leaking, and I don't need you to fix the whole basement. Can you plug some holes?
Right.
So Travis, can you just go over and put your finger right there?
Yeah.
That's all I need right now. I don't need a complete fix because I don't even know what it is right now. I only need you. It feels like there's more holes than there are fingers on my hand right now. So can I just tell you how I'm feeling? You don't have to fix the basement. We don't have to trench a drain around the outside. We don't have to come up with a master plan right now why the basement's going to leak down the road.
Well,
all I need right now is can somebody just, right? Remember we
Yeah,
talked about
and that
and they
helps.
did it. So my men's group was like, okay, we'll plug the holes.
But that's the
Plug holes.
problem is when you tell your people what's going on. I'm not saying you, but just like in a general. Like the reason why I hold back a lot of the times from just telling if like what's going wrong with me is because I don't want them to feel sorry for me.
Right.
Because like don't feel sorry for me
Yeah.
because I hate that.
Me
And
too.
B, you don't need to fix me and I don't need help with it, so I'm not going to say anything. And so I just feel like there's no point. And
No, I
think
know. Well, so
lot of
this is
people-
what we're trying
Yeah.
to say, and this is what Travis was talking about.
like
we
that,
just need to
though.
learn
Yes.
to do our role. Our role is just, I
I like
got
that.
this for
Right.
today.
Yeah.
For today, I can stop some leaks and let God do what only He can do, which is fix you.
Right.
My job was never to fix you anyway.
Right.
And let's be honest, you can't fix the situation of me losing my wife.
No.
I don't care what you do.
Right.
You know, I've thought about this 100 times. Like, it doesn't even matter. No matter what happens in the future of my life, you can't fix that problem.
No.
Yeah.
You can't even replace that problem. It'll
No.
never. Like Travis trying to put the vase back together on Sunday morning. Right.
Exactly.
We did that analogy.
Yeah.
That vase ain't going back together.
No.
No.
But Travis can and has been this for me.
Yeah.
Because we're in relationship and have been in a men's group together, he's like, I can plug some holes.
Right.
And it even meant this. Their whole men's group came out because Sherry went down. She had melanoma in her eye. The whole men's group came out and they power washed my house. They did my landscaping. They trimmed all of our trees.
amazing.
And some people think like, well, what help is that? That was
It's
great
a lot of help.
That's my point. It wasn't just like, oh, we're going to come out and make your. No, here's what it did. It plugged this hole in my heart because community
Yeah.
came around me. It wasn't even
Right.
about it wasn't about trimming trees. It was about they're a group of men who
That care.
Yep.
Right? And that
There's somebody there. Even
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to say nothing. Like
Yes.
right now, you're going through hurt. I know you are, but you know, if you ever want to, you can come up to me and say, "Hey, Travis, I need
plug
I
a
need
hole.
something,"
Plug a hole.
and I'll be like, "All right, man, I'll bend over backwards. I'll do what I can."
But that's
see what
my
I can
point.
do.
That's what we're trying to get to. Is we're
Right.
back to how do we create these environments where people feel like they can come to you?
Right.
Well, don't try to fix them.
And it's hard, even for me too. I see that still. It's like, oh God, you know, even I have a hard time with sharing things, and I'm sure 90% of the people out there do. They just don't want to share things because they're like, I'll get through it. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I made it this far in life. I'll get through it.
Been through worse.
And-
Well, but let's
it's
let's
tough.
use that, Travis, because again, and we're running over time, but this is worth it. Podcast listeners, stick with
Yeah.
us because this is worth it. Because I'm just telling you, this is a valuable
It
lesson,
is, it
right? So
is.
here's the valuable lesson: letting people in, and I'm learning this because I don't like help. I don't want your help. I don't
Same.
want to tell
Same
anybody
here.
about it.
Same.
I want to pull up my bootstraps, and I mean, that's the way I was raised. That's the way I've done my entire life. But here's what I've missed in that I'm learning over the past 6 or 7 years. Bringing people on the journey with you isn't about you or helping you. It's about them seeing Jesus
That's
through.
annoying.
That is
'cause
good.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
I've
the
never
point.
thought about it. I've never thought about it that way. Now you gotta make me
Right.
feel
No,
bad.
but that's my point. Like
I
I wouldn't
know.
have
I
realized
like
that. Like
being alone.
I would have thought.
No, I'm with
I
you.
would have
problem.
thought the strength of my witness is pulling myself up by myself. The strength of my witness is bringing people along with me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I had
That
to
is good.
learn that. I really had to learn that what happened in our men's group, what continues to happen with people that are with me that I've brought into the journey, because I've done this. I'm just going to tell you how I feel right now. I don't even know what to know about it, but I want to bring you on the journey with me. We might not know this, but a year from now, they might see Jesus through something because
Yeah.
I just told them, you know what, I'm just telling you how I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. There is no fix to it. There is no magic like, oh, let me give you the answer. Nobody does that. Well, one, they know me. I don't want an answer.
Right.
Right? They just want to know,
Yes.
like, I listened to you. I heard what you said. That's perfectly fine. You know,
awesome.
we're here, and this is what I love about my men's group and the guys at this church. I love it because they're like, you know what? I don't have a word for you. I don't have a verse for you. Here's what you can know. If you need a hole plugged, I will plug a hole.
There you go.
And that's
right.
so comforting. Like to have that type of comfort makes me okay to share with people.
Yes.
Because I honestly
Yes.
can't share with people that want to fix my life.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it,
annoying.
and I don't want
I'm
it, honestly.
same
I only
problem.
want somebody to do what they've been doing is like, you know what, I have a need. Can you plug a hole?
Mm-hmm.
Can you plug a hole? Can you plug a hole? And can we be on the journey together? And can you just stop the leaks? And through this, we're both going to see Jesus, not just me.
Yep.
Right.
That's a good point. for
Right.
you
And it's
to-
what you have done. Like if you look at your life, which is funny,
Mm-hmm.
because you asked Travis people to open up so you can plug their holes, but you won't.
I know. That's
You know,
exactly
isn't that funny?
right.
You know,
That
and
is.
it's just
Yeah,
weird because
it's
you
ironic,
want
yeah.
everybody to say, I'm hurting because you know that to fulfill your spiritual gift is to serve other people. That's one of your spiritual gifts,
Right.
right? But you're saying nobody else can use their spiritual gift on you.
Yeah, I guess that. Yeah.
Right? That's what
Yeah,
you're both
I am.
saying. You're
Yeah,
both
I am.
saying the way that we could serve other people,
Right.
the way that I'm going to, because you can't fix it, but the way that you can do something is power wash a house.
Yeah.
Right? The way you can do it is to do. And so you feel like a part of the journey because you were allowed into it.
Yes.
But you won't allow anybody in on yours.
No, that's that's
You
true.
know what though? I feel like because a lot of people, I don't know, but I'm just saying between us, like we both have stories that can change
Right.
anybody or somebody, and I feel like it's the devil. I really do, like holding back my voice.
Sure.
And maybe yours.
Yeah, could be.
Like not letting people in, and I mean it's isolation. Definitely.
Well, obviously, we're stopping from what Mike says, bringing people to
Well,
see
no,
what
but-
God can do or
No,
whatever.
it's just interesting because this is always how it works. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
And I've learned this. Like,
Yeah.
finally, somebody said to me, it's like 5 or 6 years ago, and they're like, "You realize that you're robbing me of all of the joy by not letting me help you."
That's amazing. Like to hear.
Like,
it
I
like
want you to
that.
hear this. Like, I don't want to fix you. I don't
Right.
want to fix your problem. But you are completely robbing me of the only gift that I've been given, which is service.
Yeah.
I can't preach. I can't teach. I don't teach Sunday school. I can't do any of these other things. The only thing that I can do, and you won't even let me do it. Thanks. And I'm like,
That's
wow.
hard.
Oh,
Yeah,
ow,
that's
ow.
Right, but that's my point. Like,
Yeah.
let's not rob people of, because that's what people are trying to figure out. In times when people are hurting, I already know this. Nobody knows what to say. Nobody knows what to do.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to be a part of. And so if we at least let them on the journey and at least say, well, what I can do is because back to when people are like, well, we're going to bring you food. And I'm like, I know I can take care of myself. And I'm like, I got to remember, it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's not whether I can or can't cook. It's whether or not I want that person to be on a journey because they brought me food and they thought, you know what, I don't have any words for you, but I have a meal.
That's awesome.
Right?
That's
I mean,
perfect.
that's the point. That's what we're trying to do, is bring people into that.
I know.
And so
Look what we gotta do.
they too can feel like a part of the deliverance. That's what we're getting to, right? Mary saw the power of Christ because Mary was at the tomb. Right?
Right.
The disciples missed it because they were somewhere else. We're putting it in an analogy. So in this situation, the more people that Jenny surround herself with that are sitting at the edge of the tomb, the more people that get to see the resurrection. The more people that get to see the deliverance. The more people that get to see the amazing journey that Christ. And do you really want to rob people of all of that? Like seeing the power of Christ working in a situation? The more
Right.
people we let in, the more people that are going to experience those things.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
good.
Okay, so we are over. So let's wrap up this part of it. Like, Jenny,
Yes.
start off with advice for our podcast listeners that are dealing with hurt, on what they should do. And or if you're not dealing with hurt, how should you enter into a journey with other people?
Well, if you're dealing with hurt, definitely open up, because that was one thing in my life that I struggled with the most, was not opening up, and not opening up leads to isolation, which leads to basically anything that you're going to turn to try to heal it. So definitely opening up and talking to somebody, because then they can place you hopefully to the Lord. But people that aren't dealing with hurt or anything like that, is to look around you, because there is hurt everywhere.
Yeah, it's good. Travis, thoughts for our podcast listeners?
I
Advice?
would have to go with her on saying, open up. You got that. And it's hard to say. You're like, well, hopefully you've got at least, one person. Doesn't have to be a group of people. Just
Yeah, for
unload
sure.
it to somebody that isn't going to be spreading everything everywhere. Just get off of, let it out, let somebody know, because you need somebody to stand beside you, and to hopefully guide you in building yourself back up. And I, like you say again, if you're not hurting, maybe you need to step out there a little bit and see who you can help.
Yeah, walk the journey.
If you're that strong right now, then use what you got to help somebody else out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
walk a journey with somebody else's
Right.
hurt.
Absolutely.
Here would be my advice. So clear back to the beginning. I'm a big culture guy. And so I'm always saying one of the problems with the church is we try to tell people to do things that we've not created in culture first. So I would say, like, if you're in a workplace or you're in a home and you're trying to raise kids, create a culture where it's okay to share their hurts with you.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
like
good.
create a culture that it's okay to do that. If you're in a workplace and you're leading people, create a culture where they can tell you that things aren't the way they're supposed to be. And in that, just so we know, the culture that we create is going to make the biblical transition so much easier.
Yes.
If you don't create a culture in your home, but you're raising your kids, if you're trying to raise kids right now, create a culture. Like, I know I grew up in the age, like, you don't yell at mom and dad, you don't share that, you just like hold it all in and don't
Sure.
disrespect. Listen, parents, please listen
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Cause
You
some
should be enough of a
ridiculous.
man and a woman that your little child yelling at you is not disrespect. They have feelings.
Right. Absolutely.
And I'm just saying, like, I get it. There's a difference between them just being lippy and a jerk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Then
From
you
them
got
really
to-
sharing, you know what? I'm hurt. Like, I'm hurt.
Yes,
This is a
yes.
problem. This relationship with us isn't going the way it's supposed to be. Be enough of a man and a woman to don't take it personal. This isn't personal.
Right.
Yeah.
Remember that we got to create that culture, because someday you're going to want them to take it to God and not someone else.
Well, and that creates a hole for like the future. Like, the kids are our future. So if we
Right.
create that and install it into them right now, then the whole world would be changed.
Right, and if you live and if you're a part of a church, create a culture inside of a church
Yes.
that it's okay to share your hurts.
Starts
It
with one
starts with the
person.
preacher. The preacher's got to be okay being vulnerable on the stage. If you're not vulnerable on the stage, you'll never get a church that's vulnerable. So you better be able to share your hurts, your pains, your sins, and your shortcomings. And if you can't be
Absolutely.
somebody normal
Yeah.
and you can't unpack those things with it, how can you tell a church to be the same way? Inside of your small groups, we should create cultures where it's okay to come to a small group, and you might not ever get to reading scripture, but you shared your hurts and your pains and you got to it. That's still create a culture inside of your small groups. Create a culture inside of your friend groups where those are things. And inside of creating culture, then this transition into what we're saying that he's saying is lament. makes it easy to say, then why wouldn't I go to God? Why wouldn't I go to the creator of the universe? Why wouldn't I tell him, these things? Because at the end of all of this, the world is broken and people are looking for hope in a broken world. And the way that they find hope in a broken world is first to realize it's broken.
Yeah.
Right? And then to realize where the hope is. If you try to give them hope without the understanding of brokenness, if you try to tell them that they're only ones who are broken and you're not, hope doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
If it's we're all broken and there is a hope, then we can go somewhere with
Yes.
that. That would be my advice. All right, let's end up with our fan segment, Nick. So, Jenny, what was our contest or the people that sent? And be reminded, anybody that participates in our fan segment, they win something. But how do they participate, Jenny?
So you participate by emailing us or sending
What do they?
through
What's the
social
email
media.
address?
What?
What's the email address?
I almost said mine.
Nick always puts it up there.
Yes.
It's not yours.
there it is.
RoundTable at lifehuntington.com. But you can,
And what do we want them to do with this?
yeah, we want you to email us. So we pick a theme every week. And
No, I
so-
mean before the theme.
What do
Like
you
we
mean?
want them to give us feedback. We want to ask us
we
a
want
question.
questions, feedbacks. We eventually want to have a
Stories.
specific talk or a question and answer episode.
Yep.
We want stories.
Yeah.
Really want stories. But anything and everything that's good, bad in your life. We just talked about sharing bad, so now's your time.
Yep, or to get people participating used to using the
Yes.
email, we always have a theme. So the theme
Yep.
last week was
The theme last week was Halloween. So any Halloween costumes, either from back then.
it was supposed to be
now.
like your kid's
Yes.
costume, like your favorite kid costumes.
Yeah,
right?
but we accepted all Halloween stuff.
So how did we do, Nick? So let's put them
do
up,
it.
and then we all vote on them, and then what do they win,
Oh.
Jenny?
They win a $10 gift card to the Cafe of Hope.
Because if you are a guest
Yep.
on the show,
Ooh.
so you want to be a guest, you get one of these. Travis will get one of these today, along with his.
It's in there.
What's in there?
Oh,
Tell
it's
them
in
what's
It
in there.
is a card that has 6 punches, right? Or is it 5? No, it's 6. 6 punches at Champs, and then 2
Which means
for
you get
50%
6 free
off.
6
free
workouts, and then at the cafe they get
2 50% off.
gift cards. That's all in there as being a guest.
Yes,
on
so
there.
have fun.
And then the person that wins this gets
$10 gift card to Cafe of Hope.
awesome. So
I'm
here we
excited.
go.
I
So we're all
haven't
gonna
looked
vote,
at 'em.
and Nick gets voted.
Besides this one.
Oh,
Jim,
my.
cool. Jim's one of our
amazing?
loyal podcast listeners. So this
yeah,
was,
he is.
yeah. Did he put like a name of what he was supposed to be, or what?
No.
I'd say he looks
I don't
like
think
Willie
so.
Nelson, maybe.
He actually does look like Willie Nelson. That is for sure Willie Nelson. Yeah, they're good. Okay, what's our next one?
It looks real. Like, it really does.
Nelson dressed like a
my
girl.
gosh.
Was
That
it a
was-
certain theme?
Oh, my gosh.
Because you know that little poodle thing on his dress, right? Isn't that like
that
off grease
poodle
or something?
skirt looks like mine. My mom made me a poodle skirt just like that when I was
I
younger.
was gonna say-
and she was like, I don't know where it is.
Misty's got one too. That looks
Leave
just
it to
like
Nelson to be dressed like a woman with a hat on. Have you ever
That's
seen
the-
Nelson other than
That's the
man.
second photo with Nelson as a woman.
He got, yeah.
I had to choose one of them.
No, what's
So
really going on?
Nelson's favorite costumes dressing up was a
guess.
woman.
As a woman.
So if anybody wants to talk to Nelson about his pain of his childhood or
got
what
some.
happened,
He's got some.
how he acted out on his
Yes.
pain, he dressed like a woman. Okay.
This one's Patty Myers.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
good.
gosh, I totally remember those plastic
Oh,
masks
my
and
gosh,
stuff.
that is creepy.
That
That's creepy.
That is like, what movie is that? That is a scary movie.
Chucky.
No, Purge. It's Purge.
That's Purge?
I swear. Actually, no, I don't.
Well, if she was,
I don't know.
if she was
swear, but
just standing in the corner of your house
That
and you didn't know
is
it,
so-
Yes.
you'd freak out.
No,
You're
like some of the
what?
best like things you watch on Facebook is like the scary things where it has that
Yes.
person sitting in the
Yes.
elevator.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, I
Oh
just
my
wonder who
gosh.
that is.
It's Patty.
That's Patty Myers.
No,
Oh,
I
she's
know.
a costume?
I know who that is. Like dressed up like.
Back
I don't know,
in
she
those
should tell
days,
us.
I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I
don't
know,
who
that's-
Patty, we want to know who you were when
Yeah,
you were
so-
young. She wrote us a really nice email.
Oh, no, it was
Aw.
awesome.
It was so nice.
Yes. Okay, next one.
Oh.
Wow, there's the Raggedy Ann and Andy.
This was in a
costumes.
newspaper.
This is Tammy Little, but I don't know which one's Tammy.
She's famous.
Oh, it's for sure.
Oh, the right. But
For
then again,
sure,
I couldn't
with the
tell my
raccoon
mom.
on her shoulder. Or whatever that is.
That's not a raccoon.
What is it?
Oh my gosh.
That's a monkey.
Is it a real monkey?
Yes, look at its body.
It does look
How
like
did
a
they
monkey.
have a
Bending
real
over.
monkey
What do you mean?
on-
People have those as pets.
Not anymore. It's illegal.
Look at the road.
Isn't it illegal?
It's
Yeah.
illegal.
Well, look
we
at the road
had
is-
a lot of brick roads.
Yes.
We had
So
some
those
till
are our
just
four?
recently.
We're
We got
voting
one
on?
more.
We have one more.
Oh, okay.
And here's Jennifer Eller.
Oh, remember she was telling us she was a boy?
she was the boy. So Jennifer's on the left?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my God.
I wish you could zoom in.
Oh, that is good.
Look at
So
those-
who's on the right? Do we know who got the girl
It's her
costume?
cousin,
Okay,
right?
so the
I
girl
think
got and she
yeah.
was always the boy.
Yes.
Okay, so Jenny, do you have a vote?
Yes, I like patties.
Hey, Travis, you have a
So
vote?
creepy.
I'm gonna go with Jim Goal. I mean, it's simple, but it's sweet. I kind of like Willie Nelson.
Nick?
So.
I like patties.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the theme of what we tried to say, which was send something from your childhood back in.
okay.
So
Yep.
yeah, Jim gave us one, which
It was good.
It was a great Willie Nelson, but I'm gonna stick with
Well, and with the rule, we can't pick
Right,
him.
right.
yeah, we can't pick him anyway.
Well, he could win.
Yeah,
But
but
not-
we'll have to go so long till he gets picked again.
Yes.
So we'll go with Patty.
Yeah.
I,
Yes.
yeah!
So between Patty and Jennifer, those were good
Yes.
because those were real. Oh, and the sound machine. Wait a second.
You got to figure it
I
out.
don't like-
Yay! Woo!
Okay, so you'll be getting with Patty Myers and
Yes.
yeah, getting her.
And I will be giving you your gift card, yes.
Okay, so now here's the theme for next week.
So the theme for next week, because this Friday,
Surprise.
is National Make a Dog's Day. So yes, take your dog to get pup cups. We have them here, just saying.
What?
Pop cups.
Yeah, we give little cups of whipped cream out. You bet we do. Just come to the back door.
Well, nobody knew that. So now that
the back door.
I will take your
my
dog.
now that we know Zesto's closed, because they gave pup
They
cups.
did?
Yes.
Well, Dairy
Zest-
Queen, I think, does.
Oh, do
Or
they
you have
still?
to buy one. But anyways, it's Make a Dog's Day, so you best be buying your dog something.
So the point is, we want them to send
A
in.
picture of your dog.
So we're gonna for sure see
Yes.
from Travis the only
Baby.
saved dog that anybody knows.
little baby.
In
Callie.
the world.
Callie,
She's so
a
cute.
picture of Callie by the shower getting her mints.
Oh my gosh. Please document that.
There's no
Make sure,
reflections.
yes,
in
yeah.
it.
Make sure you put your robe on before.
Yes,
Oh
please.
my God.
my
Whoa, what is
gosh.
that?
All right, so thanks everybody for joining us this week. A great
Yeah,
episode, and again, just remember, we'd love to have your feedback. We'd love for you to participate in what we're doing. We really believe that God's doing amazing things through
Yeah.
the podcast and through what Life Church is doing, and through the life of the people that come on the show, and really in the lives of people in general. And so we want to share those stories. We want you to participate. So subscribe, on iTunes or whatever Android does, because I know nothing about Spotify. So subscribe that way. Watch us on YouTube.
Yep,
That's a fun
subscribe.
experience too. Just come on, watch us on YouTube. Send us feedback. Again, we want to continue to honor God and what we're doing and see Him do amazing work. So thanks for being here with us this week. We'll see you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.